Okay, let's try it again. All right, is there sound now? There we go. I can see it. I'm sorry. Good morning. I'm going to try again. Good morning to everybody here watching the live play. Also, those of you who are here watching the replay. I've just realized the audio on my phone is up. It's a great day. I forgot to, I'm sitting here waiting for the thing to come through and I'm like, why isn't it working? And then I realized I hadn't pressed the button and yeah, is it echoing? So let me know if there's a problem with the audio. Probably not a lot I can do with it right about now. So good morning to those of you who are in the live chat. Echo, echo, echo. Really? Hang on, guys. I'm just gonna mute my. Okay, how's that? Let me know in the chat if that echo is better. All right. I don't know if that's going to solve the problem or not. There's delays now. It's fine for Jackie. I don't know what's going on. It's all good for Joss. All right, I'm going to keep going. I am going to pull down the volume on this audio a little. It's a little loud. There we go. All right. Thank you to everybody for letting me know and helping me resolve them and understand that they are happening. I don't have my audio on here because that way it doesn't replay through the microphone. So welcome to the chat. Welcome to this week's live craft and chat. Those of you that were here last week saw that I spun the cotton from the seeds and from the cotton boll. And then this week we're going to apply it. So I've got it all done here. And we're going to apply that. But in the meantime, yeah, my hair's definitely red, not purple. I agree with you. I'm a little bit miffy about that. It's supposed to be a viola. It's not. Kathy, yes, reboot if I'm frozen for you. Good morning, everybody who is in the chat. So many things have happened this week, honestly. I had we're going on a holiday. Oh, we're not going on a holiday. Oh, now we are going on a holiday. So we have elderly pets. We don't just leave them, and it's a bit hard for the neighbours just to come in and feed them. Snowy is very moochy and does not like to be left alone all the time except for feeding time. So it makes it very hard. And so we had an angel come to our rescue yesterday, 100% confirmed. I'm going on a holiday, you guys. Next week, no live stream, okay? So if you are, this sounds so narcissistic. If you need your Fiberific fix, there are heaps of previous live streams that you can watch. Keep an eye on the Fiberific Instagram page. I will be posting photos of where I am, what I'm doing, what projects I've taken away with me. Surely I'm not the only person who packs an entire suitcase of projects when they go away with a duffel bag. That's exactly right. During last week, I enjoyed this so much. I should have been doing other things, but I continued the spin after the live chat. I got a couple of things done, then came back and sat down. And then that night, on the Zoom chat, I brought it in, and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm going to apply it. And they're like, no, you have to wait until next week. And I'm like, what? Why do I have to wait? And they were like, because you have to apply it with everybody, not just us. And I was just like, I had to hide this. I had to hide it because every time I saw it, my fingers were itching to apply it. So today we're going to apply it. We are all here. Awesome. I'm just checking. Always pack projects first. I agree, Marion. I agree. Now, I don't want to pack too many projects because we're doing a lot of stuff with family. But I'm definitely taking, so far, my fusion blanket. I'm also thinking about taking some socks I'm knitting, although I don't know about the socks. I'm torn. So we'll have to do some votes later. Is that the meme? Going away on holidays, need 3 skeins, packing 48 just in case? Yes. So what I tend to do is when I go on holidays, I like to actually have everything all pre-balled and everything like that. So, oh, that's the other thing. I'm taking my Zoomy rug. So I have to hit Spotlight and buy some dark grey acrylic. Guys, it's morning in winter. Oh, goodness me. I thought I was going to see. I'm sorry. It's cold here in the mornings. And my nose always plays up straight away. And while I had the heater on, I've turned it off now because it was actually getting quite stuffy in here. But my nose is like, it's still early morning in winter, so my allergies are playing up a little. Thank you, Knitspin Girl Creations. Finish the socks. Yeah, they have been going for some time. Oh, sorry. That would be the last of the COVID projects. Oh, well, that and the fusion blanket. Thank you, Gamer Widows. Yes, you can blanket stitch while watching movies with the family. Absolutely, I can. So my task this afternoon after live stream is to not get sucked into whatever I'm doing here, but also to book accommodation for a holiday. So we are off to the Sunshine Coast. Woot woot. So that'll be fun. It'll be really nice. I like winter on the Sunshine Coast. So I have not introduced the mods today. We have Spanner Chick, Jackie Doyle, and Sally Schilling. I think that they're our main three. These guys, they've got their names in blue. They've got a little wrench or spanner, as we like to call it in Australia. And we will... sorry, my brain I've just started reading messages. The guys with the spanners are here to sort of assist in the chat. So I can't always catch every single message. And I do catch most of them, but not every single message. And this also means that if there's someone sort of who's not one of us, jumps in and just starts really like spamming or inappropriate comments or something silly, the mods can deal with it so I can continue talking to you. The mods also jump in when I decide that I want to talk about links. Like, I'm surprised that no one threw in an Instagram link. I'm very disappointed with you all, honestly. You know you'll still be there until you finish playing. Yeah, I will. I'll finish playing, but I can also make phone calls while I'm playing. Wrench doesn't sound as cool as Spanner Chick. I agree with you, and I'm very glad you didn't go with that. Today, I have got my Facecam mug. You guys who have been in the chat regularly know the drill. The camera that I use for my Facecam, it has a timer on it, and it turns off randomly. Well, not randomly, every 29 minutes it turns off. And so you guys all yell Facecam and so I can see it, because sometimes I'm doing things and I don't really know what's going on. If you want your own Facecam mug, you can hit up my Redbubble store and get yourself some of your own Fiberific merch. I don't have any of the other merch out here. Nope, I took it all inside because I'm taking my project bags away. Spanner Chick has the Hedge of Ninja. Jackie Doyle says, I don't have an Instagram link in my list. Jackie. Good morning, Enigmata. Only 8 minutes late. Hope you're all doing well. We are doing great, Enigmata. We're doing great. All right, I'm going to drop us down into our over-the-hand shot. Double camera. MLC. If anyone's wondering what the MLC is, it is the Mystery Lace Club. I'm just double-checking there's no spoilers behind me. There are no spoilers behind me, so that is cool. Mystery Lace Club is a subscription that I personally curate. I hand dye the yarn for. I choose patterns. They're always patterns from designers that have agreed to use that have agreed for me to use their patterns. I pay for those patterns, and so each month you get a pattern, printed and digital copy. You get all the yarn required to make that pattern in at least one of the sizes. And if the pattern requires beads, things like that, that's always included as well. Lots of links going in. Thank you. So what we're doing today, for those of you that have just joined us, is we are plying the cotton that was spun last week. So last week, we spun the cotton off the seeds. This is all the seeds we got. I meant to have a count of this. So what did we get? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12... 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 28. For some reason I thought it was 15. I was well off. We got 28 seeds out of one single cotton boll. So I'm going to try and plant some once I get home from my holiday. So what I'm going to do here, you can see just in the bottom corner is my little ball winder. This is a little Knit Picks basic model ball winder. If you want to grab one of these, I highly recommend them. This one's about, it's got to be 8 or 9 years old. It is just starting to die. I'm not going to lie to you, mine is on its way out. But 9 years for a $30 ball winder, I'm pretty dang happy. If you're in the US, it's even cheaper. I think it's about 33 Australian at the moment. And so I'm going to, normally, I'm not the biggest fan of winding your spun yarn into a ball. It's normally king of Tangleland, but I've lost my handy Andy. It is here somewhere in its little denim bag, hidden, and I cannot find it. I've been searching for 2 days. And I'm currently out of stock, otherwise I would have just stolen one out of my stock. Handy Andies are an amazing tool for wrapping your yarn so that you can get both ends. So you wrap it around your wrist a little bit, and then you continuously wrap the yarn into a long loop bracelet. You just keep going. I have a video using a Handy Andy. It's one of my first YouTube videos, so be kind. The lighting is bad, to say the least. I didn't know better, honestly. So, but it's still a very instructional video, which is really helpful. Is that the same as a Swift? It is not the same as a Swift. I don't have a Swift out here. A Swift is to hold your skeins open. So I'm just going to jump. I need my hands for talking here. I'm just going to jump into single camera. A Swift opens out wide enough for a skein. So basically, here's a skein of yarn. You buy it like this. You need to open it out, and you lay it on your Swift. Whether your Swift is an umbrella Swift or an Amish tabletop Swift or one that goes like that, you need to keep this loop taut and open, so it is very taut. Normally they have 4 pegs or 4 points to secure onto, and then you cut off your ties, and then you wind it onto the ball winder. I do not recommend, as a matter of fact, I will honestly say I have a little scoff at people who lay their skeins on a table with no securing and try to wind it into a ball, and then it doesn't work. Honestly, it's never going to work. It needs to be secured. So a ball winder is great, but you need a ball winder and a Swift, or somebody who will hold the yarn for you taut. Like you know, in all the old photos where you've got Nana making the grandkids, hold that like that. It's so she can wind it into a ball. Okay, you need the tools. If you're going to buy the yarn that comes in skeins, you need the tools. And if you don't have the tools, you need to have a dining table chair. You need something that will hold it. And if you're using something like a dining table chair or a human person that's static, you need to hold your ball winder and move the ball winder around the skein. You can't affix the ball winder to the table and expect it to come undone. It's not going to, the skein doesn't slide very easily. I'm going to do a video on how to wind a skein of yarn. Not today. I'm getting ready for a holiday. Where's anyone? I know. I use 90% of the time to secure the yarn. I use a chair or my feet, yeah. But that's the point, is you use something. You don't just lay it on a table unsecured. Okay, a Handy Andy substitute is your hand. Originally, traditionally, you use your hand. Okay, now with this amount, if this was wool, I'd probably use my hand, because wool has like a little bit of a natural stretch to it. Because it is cotton, also I think the same about silk, because this is how I learned I needed a Handy Andy. One time I wound, it was just a small amount of cotton, off onto my hand, okay? Just using the standard Andean plying, it's called Andean plying technique, right? I realised that my finger was going blue and I couldn't feel it anymore. So I quickly finished, but then I also realised that I couldn't get enough give to pull it off. I had to cut the yarn off and waste all of the yarn I was trying to save because I couldn't get it off and my finger was getting dire. So alternatives to Handy Andies are your hand if it's wool. Some people have got tougher skin and tougher hands and can Andean ply anything, okay? Because technically anything can be done. I personally have got little sissy baby hands. Also, they're tiny. So I don't often handy and ply with my hand. But it is definitely a thing you can do. It's a way to use up every single millimetre of your yarn. I highly recommend Andean plying for a good 2-ply. Do one on how not to wind a skein. I will. I would be like, I'll do one of those ads where it's just like you've got the lady like going, ah, you know, it'll be fun. Freaky bent a coat hanger into a handshake. My concern is if you put too much on it, wouldn't it just bend and crumble? Lisa says, can you please do a video on putting a skein onto the Swift? Yes, I can do all of that in one. Okay, so what I'm going to do, back to the hands down shots. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we need to make it so that I can get to both ends because I want to 2-ply this cotton. So I need to get to both ends of the cotton and the other end is in there somewhere. So what I'm going to do is very carefully, because I don't want to snap the cotton that I've spun. Now, the other thing I've done is before I even start, I double checked which way I spun it, because I would forget and ply it the wrong way. So what I've done is I wrote myself a note. I spun it that way by pushing, and I need to ply it this way by pulling. Okay? I need this note. I don't know if you guys need the note. You're probably all smarter than I am, but I need the note. I need a lesson on how not to wind a skein. I recently bought an Amy Swift and got a little too excited winding the skein. I also knitted from the center. Look, I honestly think knitting from the center of a ball has its place. If you intend to use the whole ball, I have no problems. So I'm not sure if you just saw what I just did there. So I've attached the little skein into the little notchy bits. That doesn't always hold, so you just got to keep an eye on it. And run it through the curly tail. I want to keep a little bit of tension. Now I want to just give it a gentle wind. It's being a butt. Hang on a second. I'm just going to wind a little bit off. Like I said, mine's on its way out and it needs actually a little something under its little leg that's too big. Oh, if it was open, it might not be too big. Just to lift its little leg up a little bit. There we go. His little leg's a bit. There we go. Well done. That's what not to do. So we're just winding slowly. And then I get a little bit and I do push it down. So once you've got a bit on there, I push it down just a little. And it just makes it wind into that middle section a bit easier. Okay, so just keep an eye on the speed. It's not a race. We're just trying to get both ends of the ball. Also, if you go too fast, you run the risk of snapping your yarn, which we really don't want to do if we can avoid. I'm just going to, there we go. I could probably just speed up just a little. Alrighty. I must have done something wrong because I had a huge knot in the middle. Ah, yeah. The top of the ball winder is out of shot. It is, yeah. Sorry, I couldn't bring it in anymore. That's why I said I'll do a specialized ball winding video another day. But yeah, and once I've got the ball, I'm actually going to ditch it and throw it out of the way. It's in my way. Are you winding as fast as someone churning butter? Now I know better. Look, once you've got the ball going, now this is different because I'm winding it off a spindle, but if you're winding off a skein and it's moving freely, you can wind it fairly quickly. You don't want to wind it as fast as it possibly goes. I've got a motorized ball winder and it's got 10 settings and I wind those balls on setting 2. So I get a better shaped ball. If you have too much tension on the yarn as you wind, it makes the yarn all squish up in the ball and it tends to pull it out all at once if you're working from the center. Absolutely. The other problem is once you've wound that ball, you do need to use it because it does place tension on your yarn and can change the elasticity of it depending on what it is. Back when I very first got this ball winder, I went through my stash and wound everything into the most gorgeous cakes. I regretted that decision. because it didn't ruin. But what happened is it stretched some of my fancy 4-ply sock yarn that was hand dyed that I had purchased, and it was still usable. But what happened was I knitted fabric, what did I make? I can't remember what I make. I think I was making a shawl, luckily. But when I washed it, wool has natural memory, and it went back to where it wanted to be, and it was not where I had knitted. So luckily it was wool, and I was able just to block the life out of it. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to save that shawl. So there is deceptively a lot of cotton in this little tiny thing, which is why I did not want to put it on my hand because I knew that if I did Andean ply it, I very likely would have hurt myself. Also, once you start Andean plying without a tool, you stay there because you are literally physically attached to your yarn and winder and all that sort of stuff. We're nearly at the end here, so I'm just watching it because I don't want to lose the end. There we go. Get these guys out of, well, I'm going to need those guys in a second. Okay, so I've got both ends here. So what I'm going to do, because this little ball winder can do this, I'll move this. So if your ball winder, it doesn't detach its little knobby bit, don't panic. You can just do it on the little knobby, like you can do it on the ball winder. But this way I can actually bring it in so you could see it. So this is the piece from the outside, right? I'm just winding it on so it's not so long. Then here is the piece from the middle. So this means we're going to be able to apply these two pieces together because we have access to both. Now what's going to happen when I pull this off, this is cotton, it's not going to bounce in as much as wool would, but it will bounce in a little, so we have to be cautious. So I like to already have the end in my fingers so that I know where it is and I don't lose it. So this is just a personal preference. I do like to just have both ends in my hands so I don't lose them, okay? And then we just very gently slide it off, okay? So this one, because it's cotton, it kept its shape. Wool would have just gone broop and drawn back in. So now we have this, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to ply it, all right? So I'm going to cheat a little, okay? This could be construed as very badly cheating. This guy's got a hook, okay? So I'm going to utilize this hook a little bit. I've just done a little slip knot there. All right. Now, what I have to remember is to ply, I have to go the opposite direction of when I spun it. Hang on a second, aggressive look. Can you weigh once you ball? Curious to know how much you've got. Yes, I actually happen to have a set of scales right here. It'll be rough because I've still got to attach to the thing. We have 2.1 grams, 2.12 grams. So I don't know what that is in other measurements, but it's 2.12 grams. It's a very, very light ball of cotton. With one single cotton boll gave us 2 grams of cotton. So I need to, wrong hands, hang on a second. Because I'm ambidextrous, I can spin and do everything both hands. But once I've started a project, I like to continue it on with the same project, okay? That's the only reason why I made sure I changed hands. Okay, so plying, I've got to pull it back. All right, and I broke it. But that's okay because it got a bit of twist. So we want it to go that way. Wrap it around a little. Wrap it around the base and bring it up. All right, and now we're just on to. We just have to be careful not to let it tangle. You can see here it's starting to already. So as we draft it, we need to make sure we've only got 2 strands, not 11 billion. It will make our life difficult later. So that is plenty enough twist, I think. It's probably a little over twisted, so I'll let it move around a little. So here it is, and if it's just, see how it just started to turn into itself? It's got probably a little too overspun, but I'm going to leave that as it's cotton. It cannot sort of do anything for itself as such. I'm just winding this on over here. Okay, we could probably even add a bit more twist because it's cotton. Look at the little baby scales. Yes, actually, look, they're still on. I might turn them off so I don't waste their batteries. Oh, I use them for all sorts of things, dyeing beads, dye. Sorry, for weighing beads, weighing dye, all that sort of stuff. Anything I need in little tiny increments. We do have another name for them, which I probably don't know if is appropriate for YouTube chat. Because, you know, we're Australians and we joke about that sort of stuff all the time. So here we go. So at the start, it was all lumpy and bumpy because you remember at the start I was struggling a little bit. It's getting a lot more even now. It's probably a bit tricky for the camera to see that, but it's definitely a lot more even. It's not to say it's going to stay that even. This just happens to be an even bit. My goal as a hand spinner is not to have the most perfect yarn. I want to enjoy my spin, okay? So if that means that I need to have a bit of a lumpy bumpy yarn, I don't mind. If I want perfect yarn, I'm going to go and buy it from the shop, honestly. Am I doing a Z or an S twist right now? I don't know. I don't think of them like Z or S twists. I know that that's the legit way to go, but I think of it as clockwise or anti-clockwise. I'm currently going clockwise, and I spun it anti-clockwise. When I'm spinning on a spinning wheel, I can think of it easier as Z and S, but when I'm on a spindle, I'm just not that in. Yeah, my brain doesn't let me. So you can see here, I've got a snag. The cotton on the inside is struggling to be drafted, so I'm just going to pre-pull out a little. This is the downside of a little ball, like like winding a ball. Is sometimes it doesn't want to come out of the ball. Exactly the same problem as if we pull a ball too tight as we spin it. But our yarn here is quite energized, which means it wiggles around a lot. Because it's a single and it has had nothing to ply onto yet. So now it's trying to find its ply mate. I may have a baby scale, but I use it for weighing yeast when I'm baking. I joke that I use it for weighing other things, yes. Where are we? By the way, did you all see the email from Blueprint? Yes, I did. Hang on a second. I'm not 100% certain how I feel about that email yet. I only read it this morning over my first coffee. I'm currently drinking my second coffee now. I think it'll be fine. Like, none of us got upset when Blueprint took over Craftsy. So when Simpos sold it to NBC Universal. So as long as it's as simple, just as simple handover as that they did before, then I'm going to have no issues. I think it'll be good. Oh, I did see it first, Sally. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I meant I didn't give you guys the opportunity to say face cam. So sorry about that. So I just sort of tease it out. Sometimes it comes out really easily, honestly, and it's a total non-issue. And other times it is a complete butt, and it does not tease out easily at all. There we go. Wind it on. I left my little cute nitty noddy in the house. Kevin Cullen bought some Old Navy, did he? Poor Kevin. I wonder if he's going to be looking for that e-receipt. Oh, come on. If someone shared my email address with me, they would be so bored, honestly. So bored. Oh, Oh, here we go. We've got a little tiny thin bit as well as a snag. So we need to be careful not to snap it. There we go. And also make sure it's even. The camera today is a bit furry. I'm sorry about that. We're going to get a decent amount of cotton yarn out of this. I was worried that it was not going to produce enough to make my little I-cord. This is something I could possibly take away with me as well, unless you guys want to watch me knit I-cord. I don't recommend that, by the way. Boring, to say the least. Also, it's with DPNs, so I tend to swear at them, because DPNs are not my favourite. I hope he doesn't rely on his email reminders for his dental appointments or servicing. He actually may get them as well. It may go to both of you. Depending on why you're getting them. And we're spinning. So what are you guys working on? Let me know. I'll watch you knit I-cord. Oh, thanks, Enigmata. How about you use your Calgary Flex instead of DPNs? Because I personally don't have any. I haven't tried it yet. I suppose I restocked in the store. I could probably purchase some. Shanti says bad words. Yes, sorry. When things don't work for me, I get grumpy. And I yell at them. I saw cotton on the sides of the road on my travel to Chinchilla last weekend. Oh, really? It's already out. That's awesome. Did you stop and get any? Had to have a cup of tea, and it's a bit further away from my desk now that I'm back at the office. Oh, yes, absolutely. You're thinking about a class reunion, Rebecca. Cool. Not anytime soon, I hope. Lindsay says, I've got wine and my Rosetta, so things could get interesting. Absolutely. Good morning, Mel. Welcome to the chat. Excuse me, got a bit raspy there for a second. Can you guys see everything okay? It's probably in a dark spot there. I'm just going to see if I can fix up this camera a little bit. It's just a bit... I'm not happy. I'm just not happy, okay? So bear with me. Hopefully, I don't destroy things while we are live streaming. We will see. Okay, so let's, for a start, I'm going to zoom out a little as I bring the camera down. So if it doesn't have to digitally zoom so much, it could be a happier camper. Does that make sense? Now I've got my little beads here. Let's see if this helps. It's still a bit dark, isn't it? Oh, I know what I can do. I've got a brightness button. Okay. Let's see if that is any better. Now I've moved it, I've got to change the focus a little. Because I have everything on manual, you guys. There we go. That'll do. Let's see if that makes a difference for everybody. Okay. May not. August 29th will be the day of the reunion. Oh. Is the US ready for big events like that? It doesn't, like, from what we're seeing in Australia, it doesn't look like you are. I have to block a sweater sometime today. Did you finish that sweater, Sally? That crocheted sweater you've been working on? Marianne is the hairdresser's, at the hairdresser's spindle spinning. That is awesome. That's hardcore right there. I don't tend to spin in public. I quite happily knit and crochet, but don't always spin. I mean, I've been known to take my spinning wheel and stuff camping, but that's about it. Allergies playing up, not knitting. Need to look up picking up my crochet whips. Oh, Marion, yes, she's in a hot spot. She is locked down now. Are you going to dye the eye cord? I hadn't intended on it actually. I was going to give it back as a natural colour, like the natural cotton. Oh, goodness me, like I can't keep the spindle in the bowl. Don't know what the deal is with that. Where are we? Yeah, I can't believe August is not that far away. So it's like, what? Because like I think I was looking at, like, because in Australia end of financial year is the 30th of June, and there was some jobs I have to do on this end, you know, on 30th of June, and so I was just like, oh, you know, I cannot believe it's the end of June, because wasn't last week April? Enigmatic says, I'm so embarrassed about knitting. Oh, I was so embarrassed about knitting in public until I saw a woman waiting for a flight with me. She was crocheting without a care in the world. That's what I do, especially if I'm going to be flying. I find flying, no, I need to phrase this differently. I'm not scared of flying. I'm actually really super afraid of missing my flights. So until I am in that plane and in my seat, I am a mess, an absolute bundle of nerves. So I'm just getting a bit worried here. I've got a bit of a smudge tangle here going on, so I just need to spin some and wind it on so that I can fix up the knot. Hang on a second. Once I boarded my flight, out came my knitting, started knitting my cow. There you go. Steph is lurking while trying to finish a Gypsy Queen shawl. Ooh. Where are we? The guy seated next to me just kept staring at, and it was so cool. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we think of that people are judging us, like when they're watching us, but quite often they're just blown away by what we're doing. Oh, see, look, this is what's happened. I don't know if you can see this, but look at that. That's an absolute mess. So I've got to try and fix it. So I'm going to put the spindle down so I don't have to try and look after everything. I'll get my finger back inside there to try and give it a bit of tension. But I've made a total dog's breakfast of this. This is why Chantel doesn't like to use the ball winder for these things. It's not to say it's not good for other people. It totally works. But it just seems to be that every time I do it, or nearly every time I do it, because, you know, often enough that I have confidence to try. How does that sound? Here we go. I'm trying to get some. All right, we've got a bit here ready to spindle. I'm just making sure it's even. See how it, obviously there's a bit, oh, you can't see it because it's too fine. There's a bit here that's all curled around it. It's not actually even. I'm going to pop that down. Hopefully it doesn't get ruined. And straighten this out a little. All right, let's see how we go. Mistakes. I make them all the time. It's part of the journey. We're creators. Sometimes we create a mess. Now I'm actually sewing a project bag so I can take my knitting with me. Oh, that's brilliant. I'm so glad you're not afraid of taking your projects out anymore. And it's so cool to have a fun, quirky, like, project bag, I reckon. They're the best. Kim, actually, Spanish Chick made me the most beautiful Star Wars one for Christmas. And I'm a hardcore Star Wars nerd. So it's like this great Darth Vader fabric. So I always joke that knitting in public must make me seem approachable, which was weird because you're definitely not approachable. But I think that knitting or crocheting in public generally makes everybody nostalgic. So there is like you always have someone who always has someone that they remember, their mum, their nana, their auntie, someone has always done that, and they haven't seen it in so long that it actually makes them nostalgic. They are like, oh wow, I didn't realize anyone still did this. It's so good to see it still alive and working. Every now and again you get a smarty pants he'll say something along the lines of, you know, you can buy these cheaper at the shop. And it's like, yeah, you're not my people. Okay, let's see how we're going here. With our little schmozzle mess here, we're trying not to make it worse. We're getting there. We are getting there, guys. We're getting there. I hope this is clear enough for you to see what I'm doing. It's really hard trying to find a background that works, and a camera angle that works for both you and me. Last week was really awkward with that camera angle. I just really had to keep my arm out of the way, and it just threw me off. Was crocheting in a cafe once, and the lady came over all excited and said, "Is that cross stitch?" Yeah. Yep. I always have a crochet bag to go in my car. Yeah, look, that's something I need to get better at, actually, because I've got so many projects on the go. I tend to keep them all in the house. So that means that every now and again, I'll be out and about and something will have been delayed and I have no project. And that's dumb, honestly. That's just straight up dumb. And I should know better. So, yeah, I highly recommend a car project so that, you know, do as I say, not as I do. I did want to do it so bad, but I have another project after. Oh, you took. That's all right. I get it. I have to explain all the time it's not knitting. Yeah. Next time, spin 2 lots and then cheat and spline your spinning wheel. Yeah, well, look, honestly, Alison, that's what I normally do. But I thought for this one, because we started on the spindle, I should finish it on the spindle. You know, but I do normally ply my spindle spun on a wheel. I don't normally have this much patience. I'm holding myself together just for you guys. Diz says I have a project bag that lives in my husband's car. I mean, even if I was spinning on a wheel and I was dealing with this little ball, it would be a lot easier because I could use 2 hands to deal with the ball. I was doing Tunisian once and had a guy come and asked me what I was doing because he was all confused because it looked like knitting needle, but it had a hook and there was only one. Well, I mean, hey, he came and asked what the deal was. It's so calming though and helps you manage delays and anxiety really well. It really does. It really does. I'm that person that if I say I'm going to be somewhere at 10 o'clock, I'm there at 5 to 10, and if someone else is late, I get grumpy because I'm like, you said 10 o'clock. You didn't say around 10. You said 10. I'm here. It's been. My mother says it's been a thing since I was a kid. People who I struggle to trust people at their word, and then whenever someone's late, it's like see, this is why I don't trust them. Because if they can't even be on time, why would I trust them with anything else? Saying that, I'm not the best at being on time anymore, but I still judge people harshly. Leanne, hey, welcome to the chat. You need to talk to your sister about Thursdays being sacred, hey. She seems to call every Thursday morning. I'm going to have a talk to her. Be all like, you know. Don't. I just have to keep thinking about it and remember to pull back when I'm spindling too. Kids make it hard to be on time. They do sometimes. I think I've actually passed on the on-time gene to Abby, and so she gets annoyed when her friends aren't on time, so I'm very sorry about that, Abs. Not always the best thing to be annoyed at your friends about, because sometimes stuff just happens, you know? Life happens. Trains are late. Yeah, bring your sister on Sunday. Alison says, okay, early warning then if we ever meet up. I'm not good at being on time. Good to note, Alison. Can you remind me when we are booking it? And I'll pop you into, like, I've got a lot of family that are Thursday Island and things like that. And when I was in Sydney, I had a lot of friends who were like Samoan and Fijian. So I used to joke about how they were on island time. So I automatically add an hour. I'm still there on time, but I give more grace. Does that make sense? Because, like, knowing my luck, the day I'm not on time is when they will be on time, and then I'll be that person who's holding everybody up. And I think that's more what I don't like. I don't want to be that person. I think it's definitely more about me than anybody else. Okay, we've got a bit to spin. It's got a nice big long bit. I've got my arm right up in the air. You can't see. We are getting a goodly amount of cotton here, honestly. It's going to be great. Actually, I'll just give this a little bit more twist. So sometimes I judge the twist by just looking at it, okay? I'm not a grist measurer or anything like that. I just go with what I think looks all right. This looks all right, that'll do. As I said, I'm not a technical spinner. I spin for pleasure. If you are looking to learn more about technical spinning, about making sure that every skein of yarn that you make is identical to the next, I am definitely not the person to follow for this. You need to be looking for people who talk about their grist and their angles of twist and things like that. I'm just like, yep, this looks good. That'll hold together. That'll do. Because I want to get in and use the yarn. Or tell them an hour earlier, actually. Well, Jackie, see, I learnt not to do that because one time I did that to some friends in Sydney and I didn't turn up till the time that, you know, say it was 10 o'clock, I told them 9 and I turned up at 10. They actually had gotten there on time, so I don't do that. I just understand that they're not going to be there. We've got some friends who are never on time. And so same sort of thing. I know they're not going to be on time. So, you know, if I'm warned, I'm okay. If I think you're going to be on time and you're not. And the other thing is, if you're not going to be on time, send a quick message. Because then I'm like, oh, sweet, they're not going to come yet. Cool, I'll sort out something to do. Whereas if I hear nothing, I start thinking the worst instantly. Whenever we're meeting at my mum's for lunch, my mum tells them the meeting time is an hour earlier than she tells me, so we all arrive around the same time. Because you're on time. Yeah, I've got family who aren't the best with the clock, but they're family, so you make allowances. Oh, hang on, I made a smudge. Fix that up. Fix up the smudge. There's probably a proper term for it, where the two skeins aren't, well, the two plies aren't even. There's probably a legit name for that. I don't know what it is. If somebody knows, please tell me, because I call it fixing up the smudge. So, speaking of people who make up their own terms, I popped a question into an Australian crochet group about whether people do you use US or British crochet terminology? And I did justify that comment with, I know a lot of us know how to do both and translate into both languages, but I'm really curious as to know, you know, is your first point of call the British or UK terminology or the US terminology? Well, it seems not everybody understood the question. What do you guys use when you crochet? I know not everybody here crochets, but when you do crochet, do you use the UK terminology or the USA terminology? Because there's actually 2 crochet languages for those of you that don't know. Knit Spin Girls, I'd rather be an hour earlier than 5 minutes late. You and me both, honey. Marion says UK, but I do both. Do you find knitting or crochet terms a bit rude? Do you find knitting crochet terms a bit rude? I don't think so. What kind of, can I have an example, please? Spanner chick, I'm going to block you. There were people who's made comments like along the lines of, I use YouTube or I use charts. That's great, but those charts still have a legend that's using one of the terminologies, and the UK and the YouTuber will be describing things in one of those 2 terminologies as well. When you think about it, some will make you chuckle. Sewing had strange terms like throat space. Oh yes, oh my gosh. Yes, especially spinning. Spinning's got some hilarious terms. We've got lazy Kates and nitty noddies, and like these are just the names of the tools that we use. Crochet hooks have throats. Oh yeah, hooker, fingering weight yarn, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. When you think about it, there's some definite double entendre happening. You can't even buy yarn on the phone in public. Oh, you're kind of right. Yeah. If someone doesn't know what you're doing, it's like my mum, like just after I set up my new dye setup a couple of years ago, I'd bought some new equipment, and my mum has come over and she was just sitting out in a little table out there watching what I was doing, and she was like, honey, is there something you need to tell me? Because, you know, I had all these scales and Pyrex and glass cookers and, you know, like a line of heat sources and all this sort of stuff. She's like, I'm normally pretty open to things, but I think that we need to have a conversation. I was like, Mum, it's for dyeing yarn. She's like, what? I went, I'm dyeing yarn, honey. And she was like, oh, okay then. But she had been watching Breaking Bad, and she went into another realm of what I could be doing with all these things. Chantel gets the Vaseline. Yes, I do. Spinning can be bad. Like, that's, yeah, there's definitely things that people who don't know what you're talking about would definitely give you a second look. Be like, what the hell did you just say? I can't believe you just used those words in a row together in the same sentence in public. That's right, spinning wheels have orifices. That's exactly right. All right, I got another little snag coming up here. I'm just about to wind this bit on, and then I've got another snag to fix up. We're getting closer to the bottom here, guys. Oh, yeah, so it was funny when ice yarns were all the rage and people were talking about how their hookers were getting their ice orders in. Yes, that's the thing. Like, what's the word? Context. Context helps. Tell everyone about the piñata. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I will while I undo this dreadful knot. Look what's happened here. My daughter, I wouldn't buy my daughter a piñata for her 15-year-old birthday gathering with her friends that she's hosting 3 months after her birthday because she was locked in for COVID for her birthday. So she's got a couple of girlfriends coming to stay the night and decided she wanted a piñata. But I didn't want to go and spend money on a piñata, right? So my daughter, ever the creative, made her own. She has made the most amazing giraffe piñata. And I asked her, where's the stuff hole, honey? And she looked at me and I'm like, you know, the spot for putting all the lollies in. She lifts his tail and shows me the stuff hole. My daughter made the stuff hole his bottom. So, yeah. Oh, no, look, there's a serious problem. Can I fix it? Without snapping the cotton. See, this is the thing. I could fix all these things really easily with just a little bit of welly, but if I do that, hang on a second, I need to be able to see a bit more. Oh, it's plied over it. That way. Unply the yarn. I don't think I can fix it. Oh, and I just broke it. Oh well, it broken now. Okay, let's join it on. Pretend I didn't break it. Smoosh it. Hubby's always saying you can't pack yarn for our weekend away. Watch me. Yeah. Well, my husband actually has stopped saying I can't do it. He now says, have you packed a project? Yeah, he was, well, it was reverse pooping. because last night Abby and one of her friends went to the shops and bought all the lollies for this piñata, and I could hear this deranged giggling coming from Abby's bedroom. I go in there, and there's both the girls filling the giraffe, laughing, just their hearts out, just so laughing. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, she's definitely my daughter. Yeah. Oh, I'm not enjoying this, you guys. I don't like these knots. Stupid ball. Stupid. You have to even be careful. Normally I would be like angry and be like, dumb is not the worst word that I used. But I'm being very good. I'm trying to be very good. Come on, you little belly tail. I don't want to pull on you too hard. I'm just going to ply you in. You are getting plied in. There we go. And this, my friend, is why mills sometimes have knots. Well, they were going in that way. Yeah. Poor Pinata, getting sweets shoved you know where, and then getting beat with a stick to give the sweets back. It's like, I'm sure if he had a choice, he would have just said no to the sweets. Yeah. I'll grab a photo of Abby's Pinata today. She made this thing out of cardboard, hot glue, and duct tape. And she asked if I could go and buy her a can of spray paint. In Australia, it's illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to buy spray paint. So I went and bought her some spray paint in yellow and an undercoat. So she undercoated it while she learnt how to use a can. And then she went hard with the yellow, and then she hand painted the brown spots on. So she's done a fantastic job, honestly. I'm so proud of her. Like, it went from no, you can't have a piñata to sure, you can make a piñata. Luckily, Fiberific is a box hoarding business, and because I reuse all the boxes my supplies come in and all the packaging, I don't see the point in buying additional packaging if I'm throwing packaging out. So if you receive a box from me, usually it's repurposed. There's one size that I purchase for shipping orders. But anything bigger than that size. Oh, I also purchased the box from Mystery Lace Club. They go in boxes, and they get fresh new boxes. Sounds like an Instagram photo opportunity. Look, I didn't have my phone on me when they were doing it, so I just stood there and laughed. But she's so proud of it, and I think she has every right to be proud of it. It's just beautiful. Like, I'm just really disappointed they're just going to beat the living daylights out of it. Teach us some basic graffiti skills. No! Oh my gosh, no, definitely not. Like, because I'm not kidding. I lent her one of my buckets to lean the giraffe on so she could do the underside of him, and she spray painted a smiley face onto it. So I'm already like, what? We're nearly done, guys. We've nearly made it to the end of this. And you have been amazingly graceful in letting me do this on camera, even though... Oh, hang on. Hands are full. I'll fix the face cam in 1 second. Thank you. And while my hand is empty, I shall take a sip of coffee from my face cam cup. Hang on. I got coffee on my face. All right, back to where we were. So yes, check out. I'll go in after Zoom. Did you get water-based paint? I don't think we did. Not for this one. Perfect cup for face cam. I agree, Leanne. I agree. I was on Zoom with a couple of the Zoom chatters when I designed the face cam art. And for the face cam cup, sorry. I didn't actually design the art. I put the words on it, but my graphic designer did that back in the day, because it's the same little square art that I use here for my little Zoomy chats. Not my Zoomy chats, my live streams. So I just jiggery-pokered it, jiggery-pokery, and repurposed. Oh, I just snapped the cotton. Hang on. Repurposed it and made it cute and put it on a cup. That's all I did. I mean, I had to, you know, get it on the cup. That was a job. All right, where is the other end of this cotton? There it is. Overlay it. Get some twist in there so it doesn't come apart again. So there's a couple of reasons why yarn snaps. One of them is straight out heavy-handedness, right? Straight out heavy-handedness, which is what that was. Sometimes it's because you underspun it in the first place. It has no strength. It has no rigor. It cannot cope. So you've just got to be really careful when you're spinning to make sure it's got enough twist, because the twist is what gives all these fibers strength. So spinning wheels, spindles, everything, they are basically just fancy twisting machines. Now, we are nearly at the end. Then what needs to happen next, after this is plied, is it needs to get skeined into a skein and given a little wash to wash off any sort of hand greases and what have you, and then it can get wound into a ball again. It'll be much easier to deal with because now it's plied. It has a lot less energy for trying to grab onto other things. It's got its mate now. It's less clingy than what it was before. And oh, hang on, I'm stuck. You can see here I've pulled it too far on one end and not far enough off the other. But this is all that's left. We're nearly done, you guys. There we go. All right. And we just need to make sure it's even. Okay, so right here, I'm at the end. I've got my finger through the loop at the end because it doesn't have two ends, this end, because this is sort of the fold point in the middle. And we wind it. Many years ago, I set a 2 gig data warning on my mobile phone, back in the day when I had like 3 gig mobile phone data. Now I kind of look when I get my 2 gig warning and have a little smirk because I've got 50 gig of data on my phone at the moment. So I'm just like, yeah, that's not going to be an issue. Guys, we've done it. It is all spun. All spun. Now, if you are happy to wait for just a moment, I'd put the Be Right Back screen on. I'm going to duck in the house and go and grab, I've got a little mini nitty noddy, perfect for these small amounts. You guys happy for me to run off for just a second to go and get that, and we'll nitty noddy it up together? Let me know in the chat. What I do want to do is get a little photo before I do any nitty noddy crazy time. I want a camera. All right. Oh, go away, Bixby. Nobody likes you. Oops. Okay, so is everybody okay? All right, I'm going to pop us onto the Be Right Back screen, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my little Ashford, they call it a little display nitty noddy. I don't actually know how long it is, so I just need to measure it just to get a rough idea of how long my little skein is going to be. So it's down. Oh, that's twisting. That's fun. Over, over, and then back. 36 inches, so about 90 centimeters. We're going to have an estimate at. So do I have a pen? 90 centimeters. Okay. Ditch that. Bye-bye thing. All right, I'm going to rest that in there to help here. Okay, so cute. Yes, it's a very cute little one. For many years, I thought, what is the point of this? Really? It's ridiculous. But then I started doing things like this, okay? And this is the point. Sometimes you just want to make a little skein. Okay, so I wrap it around the little knob or the little notch. And you do, it's sort of like a H, okay? So you've got to have that way, and then this goes that way, okay? All right, I'll just bring it down a bit so you can try and see the whole thing at once. All right, so you go over. It's normally like an automatic movement for my hands. And getting it off the spindle. Sorry, guys, this is not working out on the camera, is it? What I might do is go to face cam. Single camera. There we go. So then I can hold it up. All right, so get it nice and straight. The spindle is not enjoying this. My hand is in the wrong spot. I have not wound onto a nitty noddy in a really long time. Is it obvious? Come on, little spindle. It's really not happy. I wonder if I go that way, if that's better. We'll see. Nope, not better. It's on the ground. Hang on. This is the comedy of errors. Usually, I would have done this once to test where it's got to go. That's it. I had to get the rhythm. There's a rhythm. Oh, it's stuck around my wheel. Here it comes. It's back on the ground. Get back down, spindle. Luckily for me, I've got a little piece of carpet. Oh, did I just snap that? God, I hope not. I've got a piece of carpet under me. That was a good thing up until just then when the actual hook of the spindle caught the carpet. Oh dear. Comedy of errors. Now we're at the bottom, the last little bit where it's a bit tangled on the spindle. You can do this. Put this down for just a second. There's just a little bit on here. I really don't want to waste any. So I am going to go to normally I'd just be like, and just rip it off. But today I'm trying to be, I want every millimeter that I can get. Okay. It's on. All right. The next thing we need to do, I'll bring our little camera back. I probably shouldn't have moved it. This could be bad. Are we ready? Double camera. All right, it's not too bad. Okay, the next thing we need to do is we need to make some ties. Having some yarn handy would have been really, really useful. Hang on, guys. I've got some. Okay. So it's always good to do your ties in a similar weight yarn to what you used. I happen to have some silk that got ruined. Now it's all in pieces this long. Oops, microphone on, sorry. It's a weird figure eight, it is. It is a weird figure eight. There's a good book for spinning cotton, flax and hemp called The Practical Spinner's Guide for Cotton, Flax or Hemp. That sounds like a good book to have. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, there's the end. I don't want to lose that end. So I'm just going to do a little tiny ickle, unnecessary but still doing it because I can't help myself, figure eight. So I bring that through here. And that comes through the other side. Tie a little knot, but I want to catch the end of the cotton in that knot. Okay. Now what will happen later is once I've washed it and everything, I'll just snap that little bit off. And that's okay because that's the dodgy bit of the cotton right at the end where I did the initial little knot thing that I did that looked rubbish. So let's go that. And we need to do that again here. So I undo the little tie bit from the other side. Now it's really nice when these two ties meet up and you can actually just loop them together. Jackie uses a dowel and a copper pipe for my niddy noddy. Yeah, my first niddy noddy I made out of plastic bits and bobs that I got from the hardware store, like for gardening things. So this one I want to be able to pull it out easier, so I'll just throw my scissors on the ground. I've done the loop. I've got to cut this one, but the other one I don't cut. Look, on a skein this size, more ties is probably over. It's too much. I probably don't need more ties than that. But if you're doing a full size one, you would do all the ties, okay? So I've just realized the brightness was really good when we had a black background, but I need to fix this up. It's bugging me. Everything looks grey. There we go. That's better. Okay, it has a section on the back for knitting with cotton and flax and hemp. Oh, that's cool. I used a dowel. Now the other thing is, see how they've got these little legs? Some nitty noddies only have it on one, some they have like little balls, so you have to do the one they choose. Ashford pretty well do it on all their little legs. Hang on a second, I've got it. Need to press OK. There we go. It's not fantastic, guys, I'm sorry. But you sort of have to lift it over, and there we have a skein. Okay, and then normally you just wash it like that. So first thing I want to do though, we know that one round is 90 centimeters or thereabouts. Now, especially if you're spinning like wool, after you've washed it, it shrinks a little bit, so you're better off to do your final measurements after it's washed. But we're just eyeballing, okay? So we've got here to here, which is about 42 centimeters, so more like 84 than 90, okay? But again, you measure it once it's dry. So we want to go 84, and then what we do is we count how many are in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Okay, so we've got 26 wraps at 84 centimeters. Okay, the calculator, 26 by 84 is, hang on, 0.84, that makes it easier. 21.84 meters is what we've got in here. So I work in meters, not yards. Are they little 1 yard skeins? Is that the thing, is it? So you've got 26 yards. Haha, spammed chick, you were right in the air. Oh, did she get spammed, did she? That's so funny. I love the expression on the bunning star faces when I tell them what I want to make with the things I'm trying to find. Yeah. All right, so we have about 20 meters of cotton that we spun out of a single cotton boll. So I'm just going to go to a single camera. There we go. Push that out of the way. That other camera color is really bad. It's bugging me. I can't deal. So we have got about 26 meters here. That's a lot. Oh, not 26, 21 meters, did we say? 26 yards, 21 meters. All right, now what we do is turn it into a little equal skein. All right, I'm just going to, there we go. You put a finger in each, and I like to have pinchy fingers in the other end, and you twist it, right, until that little pinchy bit, you can nearly not deal with it, okay? All right, and then I put that through there and I pull it through the little finger bit, grabs it, and then I untwist it, and we've got a little skein. It's not as tight as I'd like it, but that'll do. I've got my spinner down here, so I'm going to redo it on that. Here we go, because then I don't have to worry about, you know, dealing with all the things. Hang on a second. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It took a lot of twisting. So I got 18 twists. And now it looks like this. Little and ickle and cute. So we have a skein of cotton to wash, you guys. Yeah, and we did it all in the live stream. If the cotton yarn isn't very soft, they give you a recipe for putting it in boiling water to soften. When I've spun flax, you need to boil the skein to soften it. This is actually quite soft. Like, I'm actually really surprised. It's so cute. I've got to take a little photo because tragic. You guys know I'm tragic. Because, like, the chances are I'll forget and do something with it. Okay, photo time. Camera. I'll get some more photos for the proper camera later. So that was fun. Did you guys enjoy like watching the journey of that yarn from a cotton boll to a little 2 gram skein? Let's see if it's still about 2 grams. The ties that are on it won't really add that much because they're like super soft lace weight. Like that is the 3,000 yards per 100 grams silk. It's called Sieg 2. Yep, 2.13 grams still. So I'm just writing this down, 2.13 grams, 26 yards, 21 meters approximately. That's not bad. That's not a bad spin, you guys. Not a bad spin. You enjoyed it? I'm so glad. Thank you, Alison. So, like some of you have worked out, spinning cotton is not something I do very often, and I've learned a lot from both Alison and Kathleen over the last few weeks while we went on this journey together. Did you take away the mouse pad? Yes, I did. Why? Because it's so skinny. I don't know. I missed something that someone says. Yeah, but no, it's been a really fun thing. So the next thing that's going to happen is I'll give it a little wash. I'm not one of these people, you must set the twist, right? You guys know me by now. I don't go into all the rules. But in saying that, I really think it's a good idea to wash the yarn that you have just spent hours touching with your dirty hands. And it doesn't matter how much you wash your hands, because it is just, you have natural oils, you have natural greases on your hands. There's dust and things that you don't even see being picked up when it's spinning. It's just so important to just give your yarn a wash, because the other thing to remember is if you intend on dyeing that yarn, if there is any hand oil in that yarn, it will affect the dyeing process. I don't know about cotton. I've never dyed cotton. Kim is on my case to learn how to do it. I bought the things I need. I've just got to get some courage. But yeah, my seat is lowered and it's bugging me. There we go. Oh, that's better. So you've got to make sure that you wash all the hand oils and things like that. So I was also told not to use vinegar on cotton. I would not use vinegar on cotton. Honestly, I would probably just use a little bit of what I use to wash my clothes, because I wear a lot of cotton clothes. I would just use just a little tiny, especially for this, like a drip of the actual stuff I use for clothes washing for this one. Sometimes your hand spun yarn blooms dramatically. I always wash set the twist. And that's the thing as well. When you, especially wool, I've no experience with cotton. With wool, when you put it in water, it relaxes. It reforms its energy. If you have spun yarn and it's been sitting on a bobbin for so many years, right, which happens, when you ply that, you think that there's no energy in it. It's limp, there's nothing, so you may overply, you may give it too much ply. When you wash that, the water re-energizes the wool, and it actually brings all that twist back. So if you've overplied it, you can actually watch it change in a bucket of water. It's really, really cool to watch, actually. But you are going to touch it when you're knitting or crocheting it. That is true. But once you've made your fabric out of it, if you've got hand grease in every element of this, that could get trapped in your finished garment. It'll be very hard to get it out. Cotton blooms when hand spun. Oh, good to know. Thank you, Kathleen. Good to know, especially like this dodgy spin that I've done. I can imagine that will bloom. Ask how she knows. Yeah, experience is not always, experiencing all the things firsthand. It is not always the best, but it also means I can learn from that and I can share that with you so you guys don't make the same mistakes that I have made. So yeah, so when you've had something resting, that's what I call it. It's resting. Resting for a while. Like some people are in this school of thought where if you spin something, you need to let it rest for 24 hours before you ply it. Again, I don't hold to this, but sometimes I let things rest considerably longer than 24 hours. Just saying. Like I've got stuff on bobbins, I can't even remember what it is. And I should probably take them off the bobbins so I can use those bobbins for something else. So I should probably apply them. One time I had two very different fibres. One was a wool silk blend, the other was a wool angora blend. Both hand spun, both spun to slightly different thicknesses. Applied them together, made the most beautiful yarn. The only reason I applied them together is I only had one bobbin. I just went, oh well. And I ended up making this really gorgeous koi shawl. It's a knitted entrelac, but entrelac fans rather than squares. It's so gorgeous. I loved it. I'll have to see if there's probably a photo of it in a Ravelry queue, but back in the day, before I took decent photos. It aligns its chakra? Really? I don't know. So next week there's no live stream. The week after we're going to be doing our live dye session using your Fiberific inspo. It'll be a week late. It would have been next week. I don't want to skip it a month. I'm just going to push it back a week. So if you guys have got any photos that you would like me to look at to see if I would like to dye, or what I tend to do is pick a few along a similar color theme so that I don't have to mix too many colors and have them all out on the same day. So that would be That would be really cool if you could hashtag Fiberific inspo in some of those, or you can even at Fiberific as well, just so I make sure I see them. But make sure you use Fiberific inspo hashtag, because that's how I choose. That way everyone's on a level field. There could be a live stream, but Chantel won't give me the login access to Spanish. That is true. That is true. Look, I do plan on, because I'm having Monday to Friday off next week. So the website's about to get this was only confirmed last night. So the website's about to get a notification put up that there'll be no shipping next week. Any orders placed will be shipped out the following week. Things like that. So, but I am planning on doing some extra Instagramming while I'm away. So if you don't follow Fiberific on Instagram, you may miss out on the occasional little live stream or chat to me while I'm having a wine on the balcony of whatever accommodation I manage to wangle. I'm hoping there's a wine and balcony. That's really my list. But it's like wine, balcony, done. I've heard some people say to rewind your bobbins before plying so it evens out the plying better. Look, I can see how that could possibly work, but that's a big job for some things, definitely. Spanish Chick says, so quick, order today, fiberific.com.au. That's right, because I'll be shipping today and tomorrow. So if you've got something that you want, grab it now. And yeah. Yes, I definitely won't be sharing my access with Kim. Water view would also be nice. I would love a water view, honestly. But we are booking on the Sunshine Coast, which is a large area, so you guys can't stalk me. The Sunshine Coast, last minute during school holidays. So admittedly, it's their off season because it's winter and lots of people don't like to stay on the beach at winter. But in saying that, it's an Australian winter, so through the day, if there's not a really big breeze, you could actually still swim. Yeah, water view would be lovely, but am I asking for too much at the last minute? That's the thing. Also, in our price range, like I could totally get a water view, but I'm not looking at spending $2,000 for 4 nights. Mostly because she's mad at me for buying the yarn she was keeping for herself. I'm not mad. I said that I was going to leave it on the web store for a week, and if nobody bought it, I was going to keep it. And somebody bought it. So I'm okay. I get it. It's pretty. Watch Kim try. Yes. Oh, you've never done the whole rewinding it for your plying? Honestly, you guys know me by now. I'm a shiny thing person. Ooh, shiny thing. I've just realised I didn't put my phone to silent. I'm so sorry if these noises are annoying. Sally says, only in Queensland, wouldn't want to swim here in Adelaide. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Queensland is subtropical. Adelaide is not. So, yeah, so shiny things. I tend to, like, if I'm going to spin and then ply, it's just like, you just be grateful I spun and plied it at the same time, okay? I made yarn in a weekend. That is, like, done. Now, I'm probably not going to wash it or wind it into a ball or use it anytime soon. But it, may not. Yeah, so not subtropical in Adelaide. So yeah, so we are really looking forward to it. I think I've worked out last night. It's my first break that's bigger than a weekend that wasn't work related in 4 years. So I'm very excited. Sorry, and as the family, because sometimes we have got a lot of animals here. And it's very awkward. So sometimes Tim and Abby go away, and then sometimes I go away, sometimes Abby and I go away, and Tim stays home. But very rarely do all 3 of us get to go out together. So we're all going together. It's going to be fun. Yeah. Kim's going to send me some links of some places she stayed. Cool. All right, my lovely friends. I'm going to call it for today's live chat. I really appreciate you joining me on this cotton journey to spin this 2 grams. It felt like so much more than 2 grams. Honestly, I was disappointed to see it was only 2 grams. Oh, we've just got pets, Enigmata. We've just got a cat and a dog and chickens and fish. But it's a lot to ask for someone to come and sort out for you. So I won't see you next Thursday. I'll see you the Thursday after, unless you come and join me over on www.instagram.com/Fiberific. It's the little Yarn Ninja logo is what I am. I'll post all sorts of non-yarn related things, pictures of wine and food and yarn, and also I'll probably do the occasional live chat over there. So, you know, just because I'm on a holiday doesn't mean I don't want to hang out with my friends, just saying. So I'll see you all in a couple of weeks here on YouTube, and between, you know, whatever, over on Zoom chats will still be happening until Sunday night, and then they'll stop for the week, and then also, yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I will have a great break. Thank you. Have a great vacation. I can't wait, you guys. You're awesome. I'll see you all next time. Bye now. Oh, hang on. Yeah, okay, bye.